On the bench, I have a Yamaha APX 12-string acoustic electric guitar. The bridge is basically coming off the top. Let's see if we can get a good shot of it here. Or maybe this will help. So as you can see, the corner of my business card goes right under the bridge, which means it needs to come off the top and be reglued. In addition to that, the guitar has a pretty good belly. You can see that, which may indicate a loose brace on the inside that will have to be repaired as well. I'll take all the strings off, I'll get some mirrors inside, check out all the internal braces and glue anything up on the inside that needs to be done, and then we'll take the bridge completely off the top with some heat and some tools to kind of pry it off. So that's kind of the process. I'll film most of the procedures, kind of do a sound demo at the end. We'll try to get the action down, as the strings are pretty high off the fingerboard at the moment as well. This has no string tension at the moment, so let's see if we can improve this thing. So I've got a mirror inside there with a little light source. And I'm just kind of checking out all the bracing and making sure everything's intact in there. So far I haven't found any loose braces. I've got another little tool that'll stick in there and feel around and make sure all the braces are intact. I don't think there is after my first initial kind of check over, but we'll try it again, see if we can find anything. So this tool basically is really thin, and it'll go between the top wood and any inner braces if they're loose. I've already done this a couple times, but you always want to double and triple check everything in an instrument, 'cause sometimes the first time you go over it you miss a couple things. But let's just see here. If anything, I would think it's one of the big main X braces are loose, if there are any loose braces. Since this is an electric guitar, or an acoustic electric, it does have this little, if you see that red thing, that's the pickup element, and I have to remove that before I can take the bridge off. So let's see here if I can get it out of there while holding the camera. Okay, it just slips right out, no problems there. I'm just filling around to make sure I don't have anything underneath the bridge that might cause some problems when I put some heat on it. So, all right, next step is to fire up the irons. So I've got the guitar sitting on my bench ready to basically take the bridge off the top. What I'm using is basically a hot plate with some cast iron. They're cooking devices, but I'll be able to basically heat those up to a point where they're really hot. Then I'll kind of, here, I'll show you. set them on the top, and what that'll do is heat up the rosewood to the point where the glue starts getting loose, and that'll allow me to get some tools kind of underneath the bridge and work my way under it to the point where I can pull it right off. It does take a lot of time and quite a bit of heat, so you have to be careful because you can't overheat it to the point where you start loosening up other glue joints that you don't want to. So the idea though is I'll put the hot plate right on the bridge. It'll heat up to the point where I can feel it and test it, and then I'll come in with some tools and I'll pry or work underneath it and kind of just shimmy this along and loosen up the glue joint, and then pop, the bridge will come right off. Then we'll do some repair work and re-glue the bridge. So I'm kind of just feeling the inside of the guitar and seeing how hot it gets. I've done enough of these that I can kind of tell if it's getting too hot by the smell and the feel. We'll let that sit for a minute or two. The idea here is I'm going to start working this little palette knife under the bridge, kind of feeling the glue joint. So, as you can see, I'm already going quite a ways into the bridge. So this should be the last part of getting this bridge off the top. I've worked most of it all the way around, and there's just a little spot left to undo, so it's about ready to pop off. So here we go. Alright, not too bad. Probably what happened is this is really common, they only glue up to about that part of the bridge. You can see the glue line. So of course this part was detached, and over the years it's pulled itself loose. So next thing I'm going to do is probably clean up all this stuff off here, clean up this a little bit. I'm going to cut out some of the lacquer here so it'll glue a little better, and glue it back on, see how it goes. So basically what I'm doing here is scraping all the old glue and kind of some of the wood fibers that came up with it. Start with a fresh surface here. So I like to take a chisel on edge, kind of scrape it back. That's probably one of the easier ways to do it.
Now there may be faster ways to do this, but this gives me a lot of control, so I'm not beating up the bottom of the bridge or gouging big stuff or sanding off more than I want to. I kind of want to just, for the most part, get the glue off so I can have a fresh surface to glue to. It's not always about speed, but more about precision for me.
All right, it's nearly clean. As you can see, I'm going to take a little sandpaper and just kind of scuff the surface. And that'll help with the adhesion of glue and whatnot, and it'll also kind of give us some fresh wood there, because a lot of this is really sealed from the old glue, so it probably needs a little bit of scuff sanding to make it the surface grab. That looks pretty good. I think we'll go with that right there. Perfect. Okay. Now that I've gotten the bridge cleaned up, this area is pretty gross, so I need to also clean this area up. What I'm going to do is cut back the finish so that way I have a clean surface to glue to. So the idea here is put this bridge back on, grab a couple of these bridge pins, set them down in there so it's kind of locked in place. Then I'll take my razor knife and I'm going to carefully just scribe all the way around the edges and kind of cut the finish, and then I'll come back and remove all the finish.
So what I'm trying to do is just barely break through the finish and not go into the top. This type of finish is really thick and kind of heavy, so it takes some effort to kind of poke through. You don't want to cut so deep that you're cutting into the wood. You just want to remove the finish.
So now you can kind of see that score line all the way, basically matches the footprint of the bridge. So I'll take off all this finish here, make it a clean gluing surface.
So here I'm going to take a sharp chisel, kind of grab the finish and try to scrape it all off. This is a long, tedious process, but the better your glue joint, the better it's going to hold. So this is an important step to get really clean. Good footprint that this thing could glue down to, a little bit more surface area, and the fit is really nice. It kind of like locks itself in a little channel there, so it should glue up really easy.
The next step in the process will be basically gluing the bridge back to the top. The idea is I'll spread glue on here, insert this on the top. These pins are acting kind of like a location device to stick the bridge right where it needs to go, and so it doesn't move around on me while the glue is drying. This will go on here. Clamps will be all set up. Do some glue squeeze cleanup as we go. time to remove the clamps here. Now I need to drill out all these holes. There's glue and stuff in it. Time to put some strings on it. So.
Did I write the part number down?
No, I already know the package.
Everything's looking really good. Sounds great. Plays very nice. The action's a lot lower. It plays much better. So just got to polish it up and it's good to go.